And a jolly good morning to you from a rather chilly January morning and very overcast too here in South London outside Streatham Station, and welcome to the first of a three-part series I'm going to do called Walking the Sutton Loop. And obviously the easy option is to jump on the train and go around the Sutton Loop, and it's also known as the Wimbledon Loop by some. But generally speaking called the Sutton Loop, and generally it's an all-station service that is operated by Thameslink, runs usually from St Albans in Hertfordshire through the centre of London, out down to Streatham, and which is where it, in my opinion at least, becomes the Sutton or Wimbledon Loop, because at that point in Streatham, where I'm stood now, you can go in two directions, either via Sutton or via Wimbledon. I'm going to take the clockwise route. I don't know, it just feels more comfortable going that way round. So part one is going to be from Streatham to Sutton this morning via all the stations on the Sutton Loop between here and there, which are Mitcham Eastfields, Mitcham Junction, Carshalton and then Sutton. Part two will be all the stations between Sutton and Wimbledon, and probably quite unsurprisingly part three will be Wimbledon back here to Streatham. Please subscribe if you want to see the other episodes when they're released, and some other rather silly transport and walking vlogs that I've already got on YouTube. So thanks for watching. Let's get on our way. I'm just going to check my map, but I do believe I should be heading off in this direction. We're on Streatham High Street, is it? Here, Streatham High Street, Streatham High Road. Not quite sure what it's called, but it's a busy old road right outside Streatham Station with all the usual kinds of shops. Massive Tesco just there, M&S just behind me, M&S food place. And yeah, so we're going to head off now towards Mitcham Eastfields Station. I was completely wrong actually. I obviously had my map upside down. I'm not going in that direction at all. Still outside Streatham Station, just crossed over the road and heading down this interesting little footpath. So that's a good start. Kind of gave me the impression there was another exit off the railway station from down here. Actually, I think there probably is, or there isn't. There's certainly an exit. I don't think it's there for public use, but I think in emergencies that could possibly be used. What I will say first of all is I'm not using Google Maps today. It is a go-to app a lot of the time, but when it comes to walking, particularly around cities, Google Maps will tend to send you the quickest route, the shortest route down main roads. I'm using an app called Go Jauntly. I have mentioned it on many other occasions. I'm not sponsored by them or anything along those lines. I just happen to subscribe to them, and they're very useful if you want to go for walks virtually anywhere in the UK. It will send you on an interesting routing, what you might call a green routing rather than a busy road routing. Which generally speaking, if you're out for a walking for pleasure, will be more pleasurable than walking down a motorway. If you check part of my Lee River walk, you'll see where that did actually go horribly wrong, and I ended up walking down a very busy main road. That's the busy main road just there outside Streatham Station, and that Tesco's I mentioned. It's the A23. And the Go Jauntly app is sending me down this residential street that runs parallel, so much more pleasurable than all the fumes from lorries and buses and trucks and heaven knows what else blowing in your face. So a good start so far, and you get to see some little corners of places that you wouldn't otherwise have seen, which is also a bonus most of the time anyway. Just over there I can see it says Streatham Ice and Leisure Centre. I wouldn't mind if I get a chance to pop in there actually and have a little look around. I did go there a very, 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 very long time ago when I was still at school, when it was Streatham Ice Skating Rink. Now, it sounds to me that it still is an ice skating rink, but also there's other bits added to it. Leisure centre, maybe they've curtailed the ice skating part of it in some way. I don't know. I'd be interested actually just to pop in there next time I get the opportunity. It clearly does mention ice rink. When I remember going there, which of course would have been back in the, dare I say it, 1970s, it was purely an ice skating rink as far as I recall. And yeah, I couldn't ice skate then, and I still can't ice skate now. But that's another story, I guess. Let's come to what looks like a bit of an green open space there. Just going to have a little look in a moment just to see what it's called. I've got to go back down to the main road to get round to it, but that is actually Streatham Common. For some reason I thought Streatham Common was in the other direction, particularly in relation to where the railway station Streatham Common is located. I'm still very close to Streatham itself here, but I will be turning off in the general direction of Streatham Common Station, although it's not on the Sutton Loop. I think essentially you have to walk by that to carry on down towards Mitcham Eastfields. There you have it, that's Streatham Common, and quite nice too. It's very big, nice decent green space to wander around in, walk your dog and so on and so forth. Seem to be a few people jogging up the top end of it there. I had heard of Streatham Common, so I naturally assumed there was a common of some description somewhere around this area. Didn't realise it was quite this big. It's good to see that it's not been covered in expensive apartments or anything like that. This way to coffee, ice cream and goodies. I have to remember that. Crossed over the A23 now, away from Streatham High Road. I think I said High Street earlier on. Streatham Common there, and heading down this way. There's the Wonderland, a Alice in Wonderland themed pub, Rabbit Hole Pub. Interesting. It's got a sign saying rebuilt in 1930. Not quite sure whether it was a Alice in Wonderland themed pub back in those days, but I suspect probably not. But yeah, if you're into your Alice in Wonderland, then head down to Streatham. It's a 5-minute walk from the railway station. So just crossing over Greyhound Lane, which I just turned onto Pathfield Road. Again, the app's just sending me away from busy main roads onto quieter side streets. I think I either got on the wrong train once many moons ago and ended up getting off at Streatham Common, walking to Streatham. I remember it taking me about 35-40 minutes, and if you do that on the train it just takes I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes maybe. It's surprising how far you can get on a train in a very short space of time. But, I've got one of those deja vu feelings walking down this road. I think I came walking up it in the other direction many years ago to get myself to Streatham Station. I do like these South London streets, the old houses along here, really nice. Very expensive these days as well. Used to be a slightly rough area around here back in the day, but it's a lot more gentrified now, and yeah, quite a desirable part of London to live in. These trees are very bare. I've just noticed they're all cherry trees actually, so I'm imagining that this is quite spectacular in about April when all the cherry blossoms out, and I'm sure that looks lovely actually. It's not quite so nice today with not even a single leaf on the tree. So just a little detour around that residential street back onto the main road we crossed over just a few minutes ago, and yeah, as I say, the Go Jauntly app will not necessarily get you from A to B on foot the quickest, but it will take you down more interesting little pathways and streets that you perhaps wouldn't know about unless you followed the app. So if you've got the time, do that. Now then, there's a railway station up here. I am presuming that this is Streatham Common railway station. Can't quite read it from here, but I'm almost certain it is. And indeed, Streatham Common will be at the end of that road, directly opposite you if you walked up there. Back where I've just come from, really. As I say, this isn't actually part of the Sutton Loop or Wimbledon Loop. It's on the line between Croydon and Victoria, and has a regular service in both directions, and I think some trains do go round from here to Streatham itself. So we're on to Streatham Vale now, and head more or less in a straight line down to Mitcham Eastfields station. Looks like we're passing somewhere called Lonesome. I've never heard of that before here in South London. I'm sure any of you that are local to this area will know what I'm talking about, but that's an interesting name for a place. Unless either the map that I'm looking at's wrong or I'm reading it wrong somehow, but Lonesome for a name of a place does seem somewhat strange, but we'll see when we get there. I should be walking kind of past that area as I carry on down here. Just in Streatham South now, and just crossing over Sherwood Avenue, and apparently we should be walking over the top of the River Graveney. Be interested to see how much of the River Graveney we can see. See a bit of infrastructure there, which suggests there'll be something to see as it goes underneath this main road. Oh dear, oh Lord. Not really what you want to see when you... There's the River Graveney anyway. Not too much junk actually in it, but plenty around it, which is never a good sign. Saying that, sigh, never mind. Yeah, one of those little detours that makes the walk slightly longer and hopefully slightly more pleasurable. If you were going by Google Maps, you'd be bearing off to the right there and over in, can't see it now because of this truck, over to the right there. But this Go Jauntly app sending me down the road straight ahead there, which hopefully will be of more interest. And in fact, there is a road sign there. I know that's not for pedestrians as such, but a road sign pointing to Mitcham Eastfields to the right and then to the left just over there, but I'm going to be running parallel to that down this road and close to Lonesome, whatever that is, or wherever that is. Lillian Road, Southwest 16. In the borough of Merton. Same as Wimbledon. And as predicted, down the public footpath back towards the general direction of that other road. slight little deviation down a residential street. So on to Grove Road now, near Bennett's Close, and a rather motley array of what appear to be closed down takeaways. Maybe they just open up later on and look a bit nicer than that. Who knows? Oh, absolute wonderful. Oakley, or I can't remember, it's an Oakley something recreation ground just there. I've just turned away from what is Lonesome, which according to the map at least is just the other side of that road. It looks like some kind of housing estate. Just spoke to a guy. I just said, do you know where Lonesome is, or what Lonesome is? Is it a housing estate, or? And he sort of shook his head, didn't really know, and said, I'm not from round here, I'm from Streatham Hill, which is beautifully about less than 2 miles away. So it's quite interesting that someone just up the road at Streatham Hill doesn't know what Lonesome is. It's typical for London, really. It's such a vast city with so many boroughs and areas and what have you. You're not going to know everything. But yeah, that did make me chuckle slightly. To kind of give you a bit of a geographical reference point, we've sort of been running parallel to the Sutton Loop Line, the bit that goes between Streatham and Sutton down to Mitcham Eastfields. It's a short distance over the other side of those houses, not too far away, and as we walk down this road, we're gradually getting closer and closer to it, and we will meet it really at Mitcham Eastfields railway station. I've just come off Oakley Way back onto Grove Road that we're on earlier on. That takes from Main Road, takes a slightly more windy route than the one I've just walked. I'm just heading down now to Mitcham Eastfields railway station, and in fact I think I can see one of the departure screens from here, or was that I don't know actually. This doesn't look familiar. I shall have a closer inspection when I get closer to it. And here we are, Mitcham Eastfields railway station. It's one of those curious stations that's got a level crossing very close to it, so the platforms in each direction are on each side of the crossing. That's usually done for logistical reasons. Once you've got a train across the crossing, of course you can reopen the crossing, and the train will be stopped in the platform there, whereas the train coming from London towards Sutton from up there goes over the crossing and stops on the other side of it. So that means there'll be less time for the road crossing to be closed. And here we are. So yeah, I think I'm going to be crossing over the level crossing by foot in a moment, and then heading off towards Mitcham Junction. However, I don't know yet because I haven't looked it up. I might stay on this side. We shall see. Okay, so following the most scenic route, I'm not crossing over here across the level crossing by the station. I'm going to be heading off in that general direction. Next stop, Mitcham Junction station. So shortly we're going to be taking a right turn off towards Mitcham Common, which would be interesting. I've not walked across there before. Just see, I'm not sure if it picks it up on the camera or not. The two chimneys. It used to be a power station, I think, and is now, I also think, an IKEA. Repurposed building, I think's the term. How do we pronounce this? Esquiline Lane. Another little deviation from the busy roads. through some relatively new looking flats and apartments. So that was the just walked through the Brenley Park play area for kids and one or two other things, onto Cedars Avenue, and head down towards Mitcham Common by the looks of it. So the little sign here says it's a 9-minute walk back to Mitcham Eastfield station. I think I've probably taken about 15 with my roundabout route. 1 minute onto Mitcham Common, which is there. We're going to be walking across there in a moment, and in that similar direction, although the quickest would be to carry on down this actual road. 14 minutes to Mitcham Junction Station, which is where we'll be stopping next. Running parallel to the railway line, the Sutton Loop just over there. I can just see a bridge that goes over the top of it, and hopefully this won't be too muddy. It's been rather rainy recently, so there's quite a bit of mud around, and the usual slightly could do with cleaning up sign. Telling you what's here in Mitcham Common: Seven Islands, Pond and Mill Hill. You are here. So it's kind of back to front really, based on the direction I'm going to be walking, which is that way. Seven Islands Pond, Mill Hill Ecology Centre, a few ponds in here, and a golf course. So, right. Is that horse's hooves I can see? I'm not sure actually. It's a bit... Oh, it looks very muddy along here. Hopefully once I get past this little bit here, it'll be at a higher level. My footwear is not suitable for hiking through muddy paths much today, and as I was in London, I wasn't really expecting to be hiking down muddy paths, but I seem to have found one here. Hopefully that'll be it. Once I'm back up on the higher ground there. This is an interesting thing for me. I've never been past, I've been around here, Mitcham, many times, and around this general part of London many times. Never been to Mitcham Common, so interesting to see what it's like. Looks fairly left to its own devices, which in many ways is quite a good thing. Try not to slip up and make a muddy situation worse. Not sure if that's an actual dustbin or not. Appears to have been used as one. At least it stops it blowing around everywhere, I suppose. One thing I really cannot abide is littering and fly tipping, and it looks to be a horrendous example of some really nasty fly tipping just over there on Cedars Avenue. And it looks like someone's just come along and put some red tape with signs attached to it, presumably something saying that the council are aware or the local authority are aware. I mean, it might have been better if they'd just come along with a truck and removed it at the time, but builder's rubble, an old bed, mattresses, no excuse for it whatsoever, none whatsoever. As I've said on numerous occasions when I've come across things like this, I don't suppose people that enjoy videos about walking or enjoy going out in the countryside or walking around urban areas are probably the sort of are not really the sort of people that go around fly tipping. So I'm sure I'm probably preaching to the converted here anyway, and those that do that sort of thing are probably sat at home thinking how clever they are on their sofas watching daytime TV or something like that. Anyway, moving on. If you've listened to any of my other videos, you'll probably hear similar rants about similar sorts of things I do come across here and there, which is very sorry to see, unfortunately, but I guess that's life, particularly in large cities like London. So I'm going to be leaving Mitcham Common, going on down here and walking along the road, which is Carshalton Road, and the common itself does actually continue over here on the other side, but it looks like it's a golf course, so probably not permitted to wander through there. So the route to take now will be along the road down to Mitcham Junction railway station. Stop number 2 on this part 1 of my Sutton Loop walk. The Small Quarter Community Garden. Sounds quite interesting. The Cricket Green Conservation Area, which is just full of litter. Again, very sad to see. There you go. As I've said many times, and I will shut up about litter in a minute, but this isn't a heavily used footpath. It's quite clear that only a few people like myself may be wandering down it. This is predominantly vehicles coming down here, and when you look at that over there as well, that is not litter dropped by pedestrians accidentally dropping out of their bags. That is stuff that's been thrown out of car windows, 100%, and again, an absolute disgrace. Accidental litter's one thing, but that to open your car window and physically throw it out is something entirely different. Shameful. Hope I'm off this road soon, because it really gives me bad feelings when I see all that. Thankfully the app's taken me off that horribly littered main road there. I will be rejoining it again shortly, but there's just a little diversion through the woods here that you can take, and it's not brilliant here either, but slightly better than those drainage gullies just full up with garbage back there. And here we are at Mitcham Junction railway station, also Mitcham Junction tram stop. So you've got options from here of going back into London via Streatham, back in the other direction towards Sutton, and the trams run between Wimbledon and Croydon, and then going out to places like New Addington and Elmer's End. So it's quite a well connected place just here for public transport, and that's the end of part 2. So part 2 of this particular part of the loop, I should say. Perhaps ought to reword that. Next stop will be Carshalton, which is off in that general direction over there. I'm having a very senior moment. I can hear you all screaming now, but what about Hackbridge? What about Hackbridge? Just remembered, it's not, the next stop isn't Carshalton, it's Hackbridge Station, and that will be where I go to next, then Carshalton, then Sutton. So I do apologise for that. I was completely forgetting that place, and off we go. I'm going to take the slightly longer route via something that looks like to be some ponds or little lakes or something. So we'll have a look when we get there. There's Mitcham Junction for you, and Mitcham railway station and tram stop. So just on Carshalton Road, going to turn off here on Drake Road, I think it's called, and take a slightly more quieter route in that general direction ahead of us towards Hackbridge. Going past the Crown of Mitcham pub. Sure, I heard of that as having some dubious honour at one time. I apologise if I'm wrong. And going to be crossing over the wonderfully named Goat Road. If I can get across. I've been rerouted. The ponds or whatever I was talking about are over the other side of Carshalton Road, over there somewhere. This is definitely sending me on this side, but not to worry. This is Mill Green and is in fact part of Mitcham Common. A little stream or whatever I've just filmed. I've just walked across that now. Is that? Doesn't seem to have a name anywhere. I'm sure it's probably got one. And on here, just coming out of it now, heading back towards the Carshalton Road. So Carshalton Road's become London Road, as invariably they do. As you head towards a place, the name changes to either where it's next going to or where it's just come from. Not too far from Hackbridge now. So another one of those shortcuts that aren't a shortcut via Longfield Avenue, but I'm sure it's going to be more pleasurable walking down here than on that busy main road. So just heading back towards London Road, just ahead there, crossing straight over it, fortunately, and going off down that road there, just to the left of Sainsbury's. So much litter in this part of London, it really is shocking. More of it, look at it, just chucked all over the place. So here we are at the almost forgotten about Hackbridge station, and yeah, just a fairly busy little corner of London, halfway between Streatham and Sutton, with all the usual array of shopping and housing and convenience stores, etc, etc. So I'm just going to reset the go jauntily for Carshalton. This time the next stop is most definitely Carshalton station. This was another of those where I knew he was going to do that as soon as I started speaking. And again, well done. Wheelies over the railway bridge. Fantastic. Anyway, where was I? Yes, there's two options usually with Go Jauntily, the fast route and the green route, which is normally a bit longer and more roundabout kind of way of going, usually through parks and different routes that might be more interesting. On this particular occasion, I'm going to take the green route because the fast route seems to be literally along a busy main road again, and I don't really fancy that, so I've not got a huge amount of pressure on my time today, so I'm going to opt for that one. So that's bear off to the right at the end here instead of the left. Hopefully we'll see something interesting on the way other than unkempt grassy areas with litter all inside them, so fingers crossed for that. So that's a nice little turn off straight away from the main road there. Looks like we're just going to be going up over the top of the railway line. So, have a look when we get there, but this very much looks like that. Yes, indeed, I can just see through the trees there one of the trains heading off towards Carshalton and Sutton. People staring through a fence at something. Hopefully there's something interesting for me to go and stare at now too. Well, here's the ponds or lakes that I mentioned. I get the feeling this was, just looking at the land over there with the, probably, is that an incinerator just there? I have a feeling this was probably a landfill site at one time, and those metal things there, where they either detect the gas, the methane coming up from the rotting stuff underneath, or they draw it off in some way and use it. I don't really know, but I have a feeling that's probably what used to go on along here. I wonder what the history of the land here was, but as I say, there's an old power station just over there, and seems to be an incinerator there, and infrastructure that looks like probably at one time this was landfill. And whether these lakes are a result of the digging for the soil to put on top of the landfill, who knows. But when it ends up looking a little bit like this afterwards, then that's quite a reasonable job done. This is clearly a place to come and do bird watching. There's quite a lot of birds on the water there, and there's another hut over the other side I can just see. Shame about people leaving litter behind, but never mind. So this is quite nicely redeveloped from probably what was quite a ghastly looking place at one time, I would have thought. Feel free to comment if you know. Someone's suitcase been stolen, the contents pinched. Ah dear. Okay, right, onwards we go. Next stop, Carshalton station. So I've now walked through to Beddington Park. That's the London road there, heading directly to Carshalton and Sutton. I shall stay off that as much as I possibly can and stay in the park as much as I possibly can. Sign here pointing us back towards Beddington Farmlands. Hackbridge Station, Stock Pond. Don't have time to visit all these now, but there is a cafe over in that direction over there somewhere. And Grange Garden and Beddington Lake, which is the direction I'm going to be heading in. Whether I'll reach any of those, I'm not sure at this moment, but this is the direction I'm heading. There's 4 buildings over there. Croydon, that would be Croydon. So there's a bit of a few water features here, streams and so on, and that place over there, that pub's called the Grange. Looks like it's open now actually. What time is it? About 11:30 in the morning. So if you're interested in places to stop on walks such as this, then that would be looks quite a nice place. A little sign here. Do like to check out the signs. Nice gardens actually. It must get busy. Look, if you're looking, I know it's winter, normally people will be sat out at this time of year, but looking at the number of tables there, if that they fill up on a nice summer's day, they'll be doing a roaring trade in that place. And I can't imagine they'd have that many tables there if it didn't. The Grange Garden, the original garden was created by Alfred Smee on a wet riverside meadow. He started it in about 1860 and it was largely complete by 1872. And on it goes. Very nice, very a nice surprise to come across. Obviously not looking at its best this time of year, but I'm sure in the summertime. And I do love that it's actually a painting rather than a photo of all the Victorian ladies and gentlemen playing croquet on the green there, no less. Fantastic. Just coming up to the River Wandle now, which is a very well-known river. It's a tributary of the River Thames and very well-known river in the south of London. It seems to be an area where they've widened it or turned it, the feed from the river into a kind of a lake just along here in this nice park. Narrow bridge with low parapet. Alternative route. Who's going to take the alternative route unless they really think they're going to fall over? I'll tell you, I'm really pleased I came the green route. It's almost double the distance from Hackbridge to Carshalton Station taking this route, but it's really rather quite pleasant. And another part of London that I've never come across before. So this is something just went underwater then. This is the River Wandle, or the lake, turned into a lake at this point, but it's flowing through for certain and feeding the water gardens that we've just walked back through over there. The Grange Lake and Rockery. Right, so the lake was originally a mill pond supplying Wallington Mill, which can be traced back to the early 18th century. It was used for grinding logwood to make dyes, spinning cotton thread, grinding flour, paper making, grinding animal food. Apparently it then became a chocolate factory and it closed in 1960. And the whole area is looking really nice, I have to say.
It sound right, boys.
Ignore the incessant noise of traffic on the main road over there. This really is a very pleasant part of South London, I have to say, and an area that I like to look around a little bit more. I'm pleased to say, on the whole, littering isn't an issue here, or the park keepers are keeping it as clean as possible anyway. Never going to be perfect in such a busy area, but yeah, Beddington Park, very nice too. On the Wandle Trail here, actually, which I need to look into a bit more. Presumably it's a walk around this part of South London, sticking to the more enjoyable parts. But interestingly, this little road here with these nice houses on is called Lakeside. We're not talking Lake District lakes, I don't think, because that appears to be the only one I can see. But I guess it's a small lake, and it is by the side of it, so I guess you can call it Lakeside. But that's quite quite interesting if you were looking to buy a house in London that said Lakeside, and you think, oh, Lakeside in London, that sounds interesting, and then you get here and it's the size of a postage stamp, but nevertheless it is a little lake. Heading into Carshalton itself now, which is really a town in its own right, and so therefore I think we're away from the countryside pretty much from now on, and I'll be interested to see what there is between Carshalton and Sutton for the last leg of this particular walk. Doesn't like this this green routing I've taken is following the Wandle Trail at the moment, certainly sending me off that way now and towards Carshalton Ponds, which I'm very interested to have a look at. Just coming up to West Croft Leisure Centre and Library, and according to that sign there, we're only 3/4 of a mile from Hackbridge Station, which goes to show how much of a roundabout route I've taken so far along here. I think this is called the Grove, and I do believe there's a bowling green here. They're getting fewer and fewer as the years go by. And I don't know why, because it's a fine sport to do, particularly if you're in your later years and want something in the fresh air, involving walking about and standing up and meeting your friends and so on. It's an ideal sport if you don't want something that's not too energetic. And I guess it's prime land sometimes that gets sold, unfortunately. This one looks like it's in good nick and the grass is being cut, and considering it's middle of winter, that's a very good sign. Yeah, it's a nice bowling green, and indeed a nice clubhouse, I suppose you could call it. Pavilion is the word. I knew there was a word I was looking for. And here we are, Carshalton Ponds. Looking far nicer than I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting really, I don't suppose, but this looks very pleasant. I think I'm heading off the Wandle Trail at this point now, and Wilderness Island sounds quite interesting too. If you carry on in that direction, I do believe I'm now going to be routed through in this direction back to the main road. I quite like Carshalton, I have to say, and its ponds. Sure, that sign's not coming out particularly well, but I'll read it anyway. It just says this London plane tree, as measured by the Forestry Commission in March 1964, is 123 feet tall and has a girth of 20 feet 11 inches at a height of 5 foot above ground level. It is the tallest London London plane tree known in Britain, and is one of the very few trees of any kind to exceed both 120 feet in height and 20 feet in girth. The age of the tree is not known with accuracy, but is likely to exceed 200 years. And considering that was done in 1964, you can add another 60 years on top of that, and which makes it somewhere in the order of 260 years of age. I'm going to have to zoom out so I can get it all in. The app sends me through this gate, which is locked. Carshalton Water Tower, and it's only open in summer and at other times as advertised. Clearly not open today, and all it really says there is the water tower built for Sir John Fellows of Carshalton House. The water house supplied pipe water to the mansion and grounds. The tower contained the reservoir supplied by pumps worked by an internal water wheel, part of which remains. The building incorporates one of the earliest English bathrooms, which is lined with Delft tiles. So that'll be an interesting place to visit. But come here in summer is probably the answer, or look it up online in case it has other open days during the winter. In fact, there's another sign here which states that the provisional reopening date will be 14th of April 2024. So yeah, but if you're interested in water towers and such like, then probably a very interesting place to come. I'm going to have to try and reroute myself now, as the Go Jauntly app sends me straight through the grounds of the water tower. I'm sure I shall find my way going along here. Yes, so the app was sending me through the grounds, which is just over the other side of those houses and running parallel to this road, which obviously I can't walk through today. And ahead of me I can see the railway bridge going over this road I'm walking on, and not far away from that railway bridge will be Carshalton Station, where I shall recheck the app for Sutton Station and just do the last leg of this part one of the Sutton Loop, Streatham to Streatham. Just see the brown sign now for Carshalton Athletic Football Club. For you followers of lower league football, you will know about Carshalton. Well-known London club that's yet to make the big time, but you never know, one day they may well do. And here we are at Carshalton Station. I'm not going to walk all the way up there because I get the feeling I'll just be walking straight back down again to head off to Sutton, so onwards we go. In that direction. And just got to backtrack on myself slightly up to a little alleyway I went past back here, and this last section, which should take about 30 minutes, and it's about a mile and a half. Let's see what we see along the way. But certainly that section there between Hackbridge and Carshalton was very interesting for me. A couple of nice green areas, including the park and also the ponds, which were very nice indeed. So that was well worth it. You wouldn't have seen those from the train window. At least I don't think you would. I think this is where you'd have come out if we'd walked through the water tower and the gardens connected to it. come up to the A232 at Pound Hill, I think it's called. Just gonna turn right here, then left again, so only on it briefly. Top of Fairview Road, coming onto King's Lane, and taking a bit of a left turn here. And this is Warren Park. I guess can be walked through, so I'll take that option. Going over the railway line again. That should take us into Sutton. Have to be careful here because it's not very wide. Cars come in as well. And just to find a little wind through the suburban streets of Sutton now into the town centre, and the final part of this first episode of my Sutton Loop walk, or Wimbledon Loop walk if you prefer. Part 2 will be out soon, which, as I say, will be from Sutton to Wimbledon, and then after that part 3, Wimbledon back to Streatham. So it's been a very interesting first section, and seen some quite interesting and nice green areas that I didn't know existed in this part of London, and watery for that matter. A little short venture onto Eaton Road and then to Cedar Road. See the tall buildings of the centre of Sutton now, getting closer and closer. And here we are at Sutton Station. So thank you for watching part 1 of my 3-part trip around the Sutton Loop from Streatham to Streatham. If you're interested in watching some more, please press subscribe and click on the yellow bell that will let you know when new videos are out. Part 2 should be out in about a week's time, and part 3, which will be from Wimbledon back to Streatham approximately a week after that. So once again, thank you for watching, welcome to Streatham, and enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers for now, bye.